Hey guys, it's Win Sports Props here. I'm going over the Cowboys and Raiders game. For those of you that don't know me, I was Win Fantasy Football. I had a pretty big following on TikTok. Once the season started, I got tired of doing fantasy football. Tried to move over to doing sports betting, and TikTok didn't like that. So this year, I'm going to be only doing picks on YouTube. I'm going to be selling them on my Winible. You can get free picks or premium picks sent directly to your phone right before the games. So be sure, I have the link in my description. Be sure to sign up at least for the free picks. I put a lot of research into all my picks, so you know that you at least get that. I'm not just some guy that's throwing out random text messages with picks that aren't researched. So let's get into this game. Top things to know: Raiders and Cowboys. For the Raiders, Antonio Pierce says everyone that's healthy is going to play. They obviously have a QB battle between Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Last week, they lost 23-24 to the Vikings. On the Cowboys side, this will very much be a backup roster. No Zeke, no CD, no Brandon Cooks, no Dak. It's going to be Trey Lance and Cooper Rush who will play most of the game. Last game, Cooper Rush played one drive, and then Trey Lance played the rest of the game. And then Cowboys defense, they forced 4 turnovers versus the Rams in the last game against Stetson Bennett. Other things to know: Las Vegas is 6.5-point favorites. The over/under is 39.5. Pretty high over/under. So the first thing I like is the QB battle for the Raiders. You have Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, which I mentioned. So let's go back to their last game. I don't know if they'll play longer. It's expected that they'll, share the first half, and then the second half is going to be a lot of backups. Now that we're in week 2, Antonio Pierce seems like he wants a lot of people to play, so it could be longer. I don't know. But if you look at their last game versus the Vikings, they put up almost 200 yards on 21 attempts in just one half. So they had a 20-7 lead, as you can see here at the half before they put their deep backups in the second half. You can see in the second half they got outscored 17-3. So Raiders with that starting roster kind of in the first half, and Minshew and O'Connell leading the way, they're pretty dominant. If you compare that to the Cowboys, so if you look here, Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, 117 plus 76 is just under 200 yards on 21 attempts. If you compare that to the Cowboys, Trey Lance had 188 yards with 41 attempts. Usually if you get 41 attempts, you should probably be breaking 300, 350 yards, and he didn't. He also had 3 sacks, so that tells me I'm a big Cowboys fan. Their O-line is going to be trash this year. Their starting center is they lost their starting center to the Commanders, so their starting center is already a backup. I don't know if he's going to play in this next preseason game. He has like 2 starts in his career, so if they have the backup center, then it could be ugly. But you can see it really affected Trey Lance, who had 3 sacks for 16 yards of loss. So I talked about this a lot in my Rams versus Chargers preview, but if you look at the performance of the Rams last week, the Rams got really deep into Cowboys territory. This one they got into the 9-yard line. This drive they got to the 19-yard line, and then this one they threw a into the half interception. They had a game-winning touchdown. Let's see. Yeah, so Stetson Bennett, although he had 4 interceptions, which is like the headline of every summary of that game, the Cowboys defense kind of got worked on. They made some clutch turnovers, but I don't expect turnovers to happen every game. And then with the Raiders starters, I think the Raiders starters are going to have a much more success against the Cowboys defense this game. That Rams-Cowboys game should have been a blowout. So if you look at the run game of the Cowboys last week, you will see that pretty much all their yardage comes from Trey Lance. As far as running backs go, Malik Davis and Rico Dowdle are expected to be the first half running backs like they were last game. Rico Dowdle had one drive, and then Malik Davis did the rest of the drives in the second half. But they're only getting 32 yards on 11 attempts. So 32 yards with 11 attempts, that means so obviously they had a 9-yard run. That even makes it worse. That means they got 23 yards on 10 attempts if you take out this long one. Like I said in my last video, you can't. Obviously, there's going to be long runs in every game, but if you you can't just take them out. There's going to be long runs in this game too. But this tells you that they're only getting 2 to 3 yards per rush. I don't like that because that means they're getting 2nd and 8. They had 3 negative yard rushing plays in the first half. Malik Davis had like a negative 2-yard rush and then like a negative 3-yard rush. So there's not much to like about the Cowboys, and they're going to be going against a Raiders starting defensive unit for a couple of drives. So I don't like Trey Lance. I don't like Cooper Rush. I don't like the receiving options. And then Malik Davis and Rico Dowdle, I don't like them against that Cowboys offensive line. Meanwhile, if you go look at the Raiders, Sincere McCormick, super stud out of UTSA, a little undersized, but he's incredible. When I say incredible, I don't know if he's going to be successful in the NFL, but he's an extremely fast, versatile running back. Zamir White and Alexander Madison are going to take most of the first half rushes for the Raiders, which Zamir White, for fantasy, he's probably one of my favorite running backs. 6 carries for 23 yards obviously isn't that good, but I expect him to, have a breakout preseason game. I don't know if it's going to be this one or not. I expect him to have a great season, and so I like him a lot against the Cowboys. Over there on the receiving, you got Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, Jalen Guyton. So I think a lot of these guys are very capable of doing well against the Cowboys. I don't think they're going to make mistakes that are going to lead to interceptions from Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. So I absolutely hate the Cowboys. I hate them for the whole season. I think their biggest odds are like 10.5 wins on the season. I don't think they'll get close to that. And if I hate the Cowboys, I definitely hate their backups against Las Vegas Raiders starters. So I think it's an easy win for the Raiders. But like I said, I don't like the Raiders' second half squad much, and I don't know how many starters are going to play, or if it's going to be any different this game than it was last game. So as you probably figured out by now, I'm taking Raiders first half. I've seen -3, and I've seen -3.5 for this. I would take either one. Raiders at home should be a smooth game with a lot of motivation. But, yeah, so take the first half. Stay away from the second half. If you see that Anthony Brown is playing in the second half, then go ahead and maybe hedge or try to get a middle with the Cowboys. But Anthony Brown literally played the whole second half, and he only had three passing attempts. The rest was all rushes. So this number means absolutely nothing to me. The only ones I look at are Zamir White and Alex Madison. So I'm going to post a couple more plays. Be sure to subscribe and also get on my Winible text list. I'm going to be giving out a lot of promos, to get free packages to kind of boost up my subscriber list. So please support. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.